Welcome everybody here to the World Cyber Arena 2015 Grand Final is what we are doing. I'm W1, joined here by the Capitalist as we will be having an epic saga is what will be happening tonight with Team Empire going up against the Alliance. Cap! What a game, what a matchup, what a title. It's more than El Clasico.
Apparently,
it's a starry affair.
This cast is also going to be a musical.
It's... What?
I don't know. You just started doing a sing-song voice for no reason.
Really? I didn't even notice.
Yeah. you did your intro.
Make 'em draft. Make 'em draft.
I'm just like, what is Toby doing? Do you forget where he is? Do you think he's on the stage again?
Well... I'm just excited for this matchup. I'm really excited for this matchup.
I know you are. It's a Star Wars fanboy's dream.
It is. It is Alliance versus Empire. It is going to be a terrific, terrific series, hopefully. And I'm looking forward to it. The draft's already underway. We can be very happy with the draft starting. That we have a Doombringer being banned out in the early phase, so is the SF. So welcome to Brawler style, not sit back, flash farm, or just farm in general. It's a Queen of Pain and a Tusker.
You're laughing at my adjusting the chair.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be perfect, Toby, in order to fully enjoy the majesty that this game is going to be. I had to be sitting in the exactly perfect position.
Well, okay, I hope you're comfortable. I hope everyone at home as well has their cocoa. The cat in the lap. Maybe you want to put it on the side of the couch because you might jump up. And surprise.
We'll see. Okay, so the storyline for me about this series is whether or not there's two different outcomes for me, right? Is that the set storyline before this tournament is that Empire is a better team but have been looking bad lately and have been going down, while Alliance are the worst team but have been moving upwards, right? And the question is going to be in this series, is Alliance going to actually climb up to Empire's level, or is Empire going to drop down to Alliance's level? That for me is actually the question, right? And we're going to find out in this series which one it is. Is Alliance going to continue their elevation of play and actually be, you know, the potential tier 1 team that we've seen in the past week or so? They've done very well for themselves. I feel like Alliance is climbing up the charts, and they're going to be a tier 1 team as the year moves forward. Yeah. And Empire, like, are they going to continue to drop down? Are they actually going to, you know, revert what has been happening in the last, you know, weeks of them just like having these roster changes and everything else and being steadily being taken down by teams that should be underneath their level? It's just, for me, Empire, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about them. Normally, I'd be going into the series going, Alliance, they're not that great. I think Empire should take it. But in the last 3 weeks, I think we've seen that Alliance is actually the team that should win this series.
Man, well, this whole thing is just like episode 7. I don't know, it hasn't actually come out to another storyline yet, but just after episode 6, Empire has lost their Sith Lord. They just don't have direction. Every time they run in, they're running around. Like, if you want to look back at a game, there was a game where Team Empire drafted Tusker as well as Spirit Breaker in the first 2. I think it was actually a D2CL match that it was. And they just kept running. It was almost similar to what MVP did at the MLG World Championships, where it was just like, you just keep running at them. You don't care about logic. You don't care about timings. You don't care about anything else apart from just having those eyes light up and going, I can find kills. And that's, for me, what Empire almost like, they almost went back to the Stone Age as far as like, how do we approach this? You know, cavemen. That's all it's about. And I'm kind of hoping to see that timing, that play out from Empire again. Like when Resolution played an Nature's Prophet game, you could understand that Team Empire were looking for the ganks, they were looking for the timings, then they go from like kill to push and just move this kind of way. And if we see that from them tonight, we're gonna have a terrific series. If we don't, Alliance is probably going to walk over them because they have been Mr. Consistent, Mr. Timing, and slowly getting better and better with their execution. So yeah, I'm kind of with you, Empire. They're the team with things to prove tonight.
All right, so looking at the draft so far, Broodmother picked up for Alliance the standard meme, you're playing against Alliance, you do not ban Furia. Not going to apply here. Broodmother has actually been, like, his Furion is obviously amazing, only to be maybe outstripped by Moonmeander, in my opinion, but his Broodmother has been exceptionally top level as well, challenging, you know, some of the best Broodmothers coming out of the CIS region even. So I feel like the Brood is still a strong pickup for Alliance, and it is kind of a feeler. Broodmother, I am going to be impressed. If Admiral Bulldog does very well in this game, I'll be very impressed because he has to deal with Tusk, who is already a pretty decent hero for against Broodmother because you just, Broodmother pops out at any point in time, you snowball, you have Tusk, you catch her.
Yeah.
And then the Spirit Breaker, who's even more now of a counter to the Broodmother and can apply, you know, in this global situation where she ever pops out, she's potentially charged and she doesn't know it until it's too late. So it is good versus the Dazzle, though, a support that doesn't operate very well against the Broodmother. You compare that to another defensive support such as the Winter Wyvern, very good versus Brood. So there is that slight advantage there. They now go for the Slardar, which is going to be my Nuts' hero. I was going to say that it's surprising the Slardar hasn't been seen so far in the draft because he is incredibly high priority.
He's also a great pickup the Team Empire could have taken. It would have made them very heavy on their melee, but it would be so tanky with a hell of a lot of armor and good up against the Broodmother in general.
Yeah, they would have had to do something really weird.
It would have had to be like a safe lane Slardar because this is a dual lane off lane. They're actually still going to go with a heavy melee. This is a Spirit Breaker and Tuskar dual off with Resolution on the Spirit Breaker. If this is along the same lines as the game I remember and actually referred to at the start of this cast, and I'm very, very concerned for Team Empire that they are doing this. It's so much strength, but I'm not feeling enough control and damage coming out from Team Empire with this lineup. Right? A lot of survivability, sure. But Alliance can just bait them out in the lanes. The Bane pickup here by S4 is brilliant. Because now you can make sure you not only can control up the charging Spirit Breaker, but you might be able to defensively Nightmare when Tuskar's coming in. You got Fiend Script control, you got Brain Stamp, so you got some pure damage as well for the Bane to have a little bit more survivability during the fights. Queen of Pain's already got a blink away, so she can get out of range of the Tuskar, potentially dodge the Vent Stun. The Spirit Breaker's the only one that would chase in a little bit further, but yeah, I'm not optimistic for Team Empire's lineup, but I could definitely see the strength behind their lineup.
Let's see, what are some of the last bans? We still could have a Wind Ranger picked up. That would be one of Yoku's go-to heroes in this situation. You also have the Templar Assassin that's still in the pool. Let's see, I'm looking at Broodmother is a bit dangerous to play Templar Assassin against because if you I think it's actually even more potent on when the Broodmother's on Dire side and you're on Radiant, because the Broodmother will take over the Radiant jungle, and you'll see these rotations. If the Broodmother does well, then she starts rotating into the middle lane and throws spiders at the Templar Assassin, instantly burns through the refraction, takes it out like that.
Yeah.
And it's rather dangerous, but it wouldn't necessarily be a bad hero. We've seen the matchup before, TA versus Queen of Pain. Quite a number of times. This would also give them a lot of physical damage, but I feel like the Wind Ranger is better because they need additional utility and additional lockdown for the Sven to really take advantage. They have the Tusk Spirit Breaker so far, and that's nice, but I think that the Wind Ranger would serve better. Alliance apparently feel differently. They actually ban away Yoku's TA.
Yeah, they might also be worried about the clearance of the Broodmother. You're talking about like Spiderlings coming in to attack the TA. Early on, that's probably not going to happen because you're not going to be looking at Admiral Bulldog rotating over unless he's looking to contest up against a couple of stacks. But with the TA refraction as Sideblades as well as Sven with his cleave, they should be able to deal enough with the Broodmother's push power.
10 seconds remaining.
TA is worth the ban. I can understand your Wind Ranger. She kind of does the same thing with the power shot, the control from Shackle, and it will be the choice right now from No Fear how he wants to approach this. 45 seconds on the clock to make a pick. I'm just really worried about all of their melee. Like it's a good game that they did ban out Gyrocopter. If that cooldown kicked in, like if there's any kind of extra AoE slow, a disruptor pickup would have completely destroyed Team Empire as well. What else is there for Alliance as far as AoE control? I would love to throw the Enigma out there as an option. Up against Strength Heroes with Midnight Pulse, as well as then having like your Black Hole. There's nothing from range that can cancel your Black Hole. But I don't know if it's a good combo with Bane as such.
Wind Ranger at your
There's
service.
the Wind Ranger finally from Team Empire. Maybe they're. I felt like it was pretty obvious that they were going to go for that hero. I'm not sure what else they were thinking about. Maybe they're just spending time talking about the strategy for this game. Alliance. Well, I really feel like this is going to be a Minot Slardar. So I think they actually still need a carry left.
Okay.
In which case, like I was looking at Slark, but I don't feel it offers you, like the control isn't very good versus Spirit Breaker. He's always able to charge away, and potentially Spirit Breaker can be a really good hero to keep the Slark locked down because you can't get away once you're charged up. There is a bit of back and forth with that in that you also know when you are being charged, but I feel like it is more advantageous for the Spirit Breaker. Plus, there's going to be a lot of early aggression, right? You said it's going to be the Spirit Breaker Tusk dual offlane most likely, so they have to kind of keep that in mind and pick up a carry that is able to deal with that kind of early aggression.
I just don't know if they're forced into that position. Like, I prefer to see more utility come up. You've already got, like, the Slardar's going to be good enough in this game with the Brood and the Quab.
For me, I don't like the fact that because I feel like 6.85 is very much focused on your potential late game factor, Alliance don't have better late game if they run a Slardar in the safe lane because you have the Queen of Pain entering as your mid. I think you do need that harder carry, and they're going to go for the Spectre, a hero that I hadn't actually considered at all. I really thought you needed something that would be able to provide some early laning presence, and Spectre is the exact opposite of that. Spectre is very bad in the laning phase, and they could get pushed out by the Spirit Breaker Tusk, and once you keep the Spectre shut down in the laning phase, it's very easy to continue that role and keep her from the Radiance. She's also a right-clicking hero, which is not necessarily the greatest against a lot of Team Empire's lineup. Spirit Breaker is exceptionally tanky, has high armor. Sven, very high armor because of Warcry. Wind Ranger has Wind Run. You're seeing all these situations where Spectre's not actually going to deal that much damage to many of these heroes from Team Empire unless they're isolated and that desolate damage starts coming into play.
Yeah, but that's the only way around, like, to actually have that. You're not canceling any Blink Daggers. You're not doing anything like that. If you wanted something going in the late game that's able to deal with the Team Empire lineup, if you can get farm on this Spectre, if she gets really, really tanky, you've got enough. But, yeah, we're talking fully 6-slotted Spectre load up.
I mean, if you want late game carry, Spectre is by far the greatest late game carry that's viable in this meta.
You just need the farm.
Yeah, you need the farm and you need the team to be able to provide early aggression for you, because the important thing about a Spectre is not necessarily making sure that she has free farm and sitting passively behind her. It's actually using the other 4 heroes to play aggressively and setting up the Spectre, creating space for her, but also creating haunt situation, because that's actually one of the best ways for the Spectre to get the fast Radiance is actually be a part of kills, join a fight, be there for the the haunt, get a kill, maybe 2, and then TP back to lane and have that safe farm. So it's going to be like a lot of what you usually want is a lot of great rotational heroes and a tempo controller as your mid, as well as good laning vision, because you have to make sure that your Spectre isn't also being ganked up at that time.
Well, they win in the laning vision. The fresh observer, Arcade TP'd himself to the tier 1 tower, and I think you're going to see No Fear now try and counter this. Like, they're right on top of a dire observer ward. Because Arcade was so early, he scouted out the movement coming in from Resolution with his Obs ward, so they've already lost that Observer ward on the top lane. Bottom lane is going to be a battle here from Silent, as well as Admiral Bulldog. It's going to be Bulldog who gets the bounty rune, and with the extra damage, okay, Silent's really slowed up at the moment. Trying to run away, S4 Shadow Strike's going to wear off, actually not even going to wear off in time. There's another web here. This is First Blood. Silent's going to go down, Admiral Bulldog be the man to get the kill. That's huge. It's going to completely accelerate, in fact, complete this Soul Ring for the Broodmother and almost give him level 2.
Yeah, I had no idea why Silent thought that was going to be a good play if he had a support behind him. Yes, that would have been fine to challenge because there is relatively low kill power on the Broodmother at level 1, so you're just getting the top lane pain.
Nut's going to get himself a double crush. Lodo cannot help him. Like, he's daggering himself in here to try and beat into the Tuskar, and well, my Nuts is going to get himself back underneath the tier 1 tower, but Lodo's taking so much damage too. Resolution, this is what I'm talking about, where he likes to get a little over-aggressive. Luckily for him, he's not in range of that tier 1 tower, but Arcade rotating over. He's got Brain Sap level 1. That's not enough damage to get the kill on Resolution or on the Tuskar. He needs more help, but I'll just let it go for now.
And that's where you're seeing the power of this dual lane actually addressing. And the dagger level 1 is really bad. It's 50 damage. It's hardly much of a movement speed exchange at all.
What is this like? It's an 8% movement speed.
Yeah, so you're talking about 16% of difference, right? If you hit a hero and you increase the movement speed of the Spectre, that's so minor.
Yep.
So it doesn't really mean that much. It's going to this lane is going to be determined by at level 2. If Spirit Breaker and Tusk, they don't necessarily have to get a kill, but if they manage to push back against one of the supports, force them back to Fountain, keep Dota from being able to farm for a little while, then they will have won the lane. But we'll see with this next creep wave coming in, they'll get their level 2, and the next minute and a half, 2 minutes is going to be really important to watch how that dual off lane works and whether or not they're able to succeed.
Yep. For now, I'm watching the middle lane. Yoku's having himself a great time against S4. Those 2 points up in power shot, he has a chance where he could battle into the Queen of Pain with S4 dropping really, really low. And there goes your power shot, dropping him in, and in comes the Dazzle. He got the poison touch off, but the salve not cancelled by the poison touch. So S4 is able to regenerate back up again, but that hasted Dazzle, he doesn't commit. He had no Shallow Grave. Loda also can't be controlled. This is the downside about this dual off lane. The fact that you can't just lock him inside the shards. In fact, maybe even get a counter kill. Minus moving over in the sprint. Who is he moving on to, though? That's the question, and it is, in fact, Nuts. He'll go for the crush, the bash onto Loda, keeping him out of this fight, but RK took at the brain sap. He can commit it to ensure the kill. If they want a Nightmare over on Res, they can do it. And with a follow-up crush, Desolate just got leveled up, so you got bonus damage against Resolution, forcing him back behind the tower. Loda's committing. Is there another brain sap?
This is
no,
dangerous.
They are so deep right now that they find themselves the kill. They trigger the mango, so Loda, get the aggro off you! He moves away on 6 HP, and he's blocked Tuskar by his own shards. He cannot chase down that Spectre, who will survive.
Oh, Alliance, I can't believe they charged for that. They should have been punished so much heavier. A Resolution had the opportunity. Like, he had a health potion. He had a decent amount of time to be able to get some HP in. He also could have charged and hit all 3 of those heroes. I think they easily could have gotten a double kill there in exchange for Resolution's life, but Alliance somehow managed to get away without losing anybody there. And now you'll see this Empire aggro dual lane is not going to work out as it could have.
I kind of feel like I'm playing the same movie again, and it's a really, really bad rerun of an 1880s show. What is going on? 1980s. There's nothing in 1880s. It's just the same problem as before, where you don't really get enough out of the Spirit Breaker, and what's going to happen now is Resolution will just charge to zone. Like, he'll run at different heroes across the map, and make it so, well, at least I put him back behind the tower. But you don't get much more than that. If he's committing towards this run S4, who's going to scream him. Resolution doesn't have a way out, but he does actually get that bash chance. That's so lucky for him. Nuts is going to try and punish Resolution. He's too far away for the crush. And the charge, that's different to what I remember, aka the game before.
Yeah,
All it is just that it really worked.
That was incredibly good, because then he was able to be a part of a high-level hero kill. Like, Queen of Pain is level 4. They actually now have... They can essentially pull back this aggro dual lane because of the experience that they got. And they're actually going to go again onto S4. The Shackle Shot
doesn't latch. One of the very rare times. There's like 5 million trees behind it, but S4 is able to dodge.
Just imagine if Resolution had the confidence, though, to go for that right click and it was a bash.
Yoku's dead. Oh, he jumps away. The Scream is going to connect as well, but S4, he blinks in for the kill, allowing Tuskar to get the revenge. Now, Nuts only has sprint. He doesn't have the ability to go for a crush, so it will end up being a 1-for-1 trade-off.
I'm not sure if, like, Alliance are trying to match Empire's aggression, because I feel like there are many scenarios here. For example, that last one, the Queen of Pain aggressively blinking forward like that for the kill on Wind Ranger. What happens if the Tusk responds faster than you do, and he's able to get the snowball and save the Wind Ranger from that scream, and you actually give away a death on the Queen of Pain for nothing? You know, these are these scenarios where Alliance are playing so aggressively that there actually could be losing this laning phase, but they're just getting, I think, a little bit lucky, and Empire just aren't responding well enough that Alliance is going unpunished, essentially. But I'm not sure if that's just their plan, is to meet Empire's aggression with as much aggression of their own in the laning phase.
That's not really the greatest thing to do up against a team like Team Empire. Like, they want you to try and match aggression for aggression. And Alliance can't really do that, because what do? You get a match aggression for aggression while the Spectre needs to farm up. You're wasting time on this. The Spirit Breaker, however, is also not getting much out of this top lane anymore. Like, he's just up here, waiting for something. He's got 12 for 3. The Tuskar can't do much more. They're being watched by this dire observe ward, which makes the gank almost impossible. RK was hanging around for a while. I think Loda just said, just move on, man. Like, it's not a requirement.
Loda's farm is being a bit inhibited. You can't look at the difference of CS between him and the Sven because the Sven has Broodling kills.
Nightmare mid. But they're going in right now on Yoku. Nuss moving forward. He can actually get himself a double crush. Just a second too early, however. The snowball's still going to come in, and Yoku's going to die, but not before he gets the power shot off. A little bit of extra damage to help ensure the kill over on S4. That you've got a big Broodmite with a large amount of Spirelings. He was just farming up over on the camp on the side, and now the Haunt. They find the Tuskar on the tree lines. Shadowgrave will keep him alive, but the extra stun on the Dazzle, so no fear will end up dropping. The Snowball is on the back of Loda, and they're going to chase it in a little bit further at the moment, as I also need to switch up my overlay. LOL. They're going to get themselves out. I'm wondering if that's what Tim was running in here for.
Silent, he pushed out a tier 1 tower at the same time, but it's a shame he didn't have that TP. Once again, like, Alliance playing this, like, overly aggressive style where they are able to get away without being punished. Like, the fact that they were diving so heavily underneath that tier 1 tower, there was opportunities, I think, for Sven to show up and just destroy several heroes, but Empire still played that pretty well. Like, the Tusk snowball save allowed them to be able to get the kill on the Queen of Pain. The Dazzle came in and bought a lot more time as well for the Tusk in return. There were some scenarios where Empire played that very well, but the result was still Alliance favored. And this is something that you do need to do when your Spectre is level 6 like that, is find openings for Loda to be a part of those kills. Because it's not just the gold, but it's also levels that are pretty key on a Spectre. All 4 of your abilities are really highly valued. There is no, like, many carries have that one ability that's like, not really that favored. But with a Spectre, all of them actually get more powerful as time goes on, except the dagger.
Minot's is getting charged right now. He walked underneath the sentry wall in the Radiant jungle, so San is acting like he doesn't know. Admiral Bulldog's rotating over too, but these Spiderlings, they're perfectly visible. And now in comes your charge. Flags it out. My nuts. Okay, there goes your dust. Reveals him out with the extra stun, the burst heal. He'll get himself a double crush, but Wind Ranger with a power shot. Yoku from a long way away is able to latch on that one. But he's being attacked by Spirelings. Admiral Bulldog, he won't reach the courier. But he keeps on farming. This Admiral Bulldog actually has the same net worth as this Vent, and is getting very close to finishing up the Orchid.
Yeah, Broodmother, lol. What a hero.
Especially,
yeah, Dire side Broodmother I think is even tougher to control because I think the Radiant jungle is very favorable for the Brood. So the next charge is coming up, a simple Walrus Punch. I think Tusk is just trying to loosen up Loda where they could potentially go for this kill.
Again, that Observe Ward, the scouts out Resolution's movements, the TP support's coming in. They want the kill on Loda, but Nuts coming up from behind. He'll go for the double crush, only hits on Resolution. The snowball protects him, and Loda again! 10 HP! He's moving away! Yoku wants to get this kill with the attack. He's gonna find it. Ends up being a 2-for-1 trade-off. They lose both supports to ensure the kill over on Loda. Yoku going for the power shot attack, but not getting caught out by it. And in fact, S4, like, he's already committed the Sonic Wave to ensure the 2 kills. And Yoku, okay, S4's just shuffling himself away.
They're hunting for Admiral Bulldog right now, but it's
good luck.
Yeah, again, like, the Radiant jungle has so many different areas where... Now, this is something pretty key. This is something that there's a lot of... Oh, a free kill on Yoku. Ake, what great positioning. He actually gets out the aggressive Warden because he's level 6. Any hero that he finds alone is a guaranteed kill alongside the help of Spectre. So he sets himself up perfectly, especially when he knows that Yoku was on his way back from that top lane.
I'm wondering if it was also just a happy coincidence. You walked in there for the ward, you end up finding yourself a Wind Ranger.
I think you should probably give Ake a bit more credit than that. I think he knew what was happening there. They're going to go on Admiral Bulldog here. They don't quite yet have the ultimate for Resolution, but they have the snowball.
Yeah, he's going for Insatiable Hunger, but damn, that burst heal kicks in, but it was the Tuskar to get the kill. RK as well as Nuts a little bit too late. They go in for that Nether Strike. The crush from Nuts doesn't really stop anything. RK will die, and Resolution, yep, this is the primal attack of Resolution. He just charges anything he sees.
Meanwhile, Yoku's going to be able to keep Loda from farming a little bit, so They're actually still winning on kind of all sides with that maneuver. Yeah, they showed 4 heroes bottom, but they got 2 different kills for it, one of which being the highest net worth hero on side of Alliance, Admiral Bulldog's Broodmother. And then they're still putting pressure on Loda via Yoku, going back to the lane. The only thing is Queen of Pain's getting free farm in the middle lane, but there's not much you can really do to stop that anyway.
And they're coming in for mid. S4 visible, and Spirit Breaker charges. Snowball's also going to come in. S4 can't get himself away in time. They get a perfect combination with Walrus Punch, the Snowball attack, and the extra damage coming in from that level 4 power shot of Yoku.
Man, they're really creating so much space for Silent. It's insane. He's going the Mask of Madness drums build, though he may be foregoing the drums. I really think that Blink Dagger is pretty key for this game. So maybe he'll go Mask of Madness Blink. That would be a bit of a hybrid build and something that we don't normally see from Silent, because normally he builds Mask of Madness drums is usually his go-to build. So
I wonder if it's almost worthwhile getting a BKB in this game as well. But I suppose you're going up against the pure damage of the Sonic Wave as well as the...
If you went the Mask of
Grip
Madness
control.
in the Mask of Madness drums, and then you would go BKB, yeah. I do think that that's perhaps a bit too passive.
You want to see him with more damage on the field.
Yeah, I want him to be more of a tempo controller from the carry position than your norm. Smoke up. If they actually successfully get the pick off on Loda, this is really good timing for them. Looks like they'll have it too.
Yep, Loda. Oh, he's over. They have to push him back with the Nether Strike. Those bloody shards, sometimes they just work against you.
Now, something's really key here. They didn't have any heroes protecting that Spectre, so they should know that Alliance have heroes in their own jungle.
It's the Observer Wall that's also scouting it out. The charge is coming in from Resolution. It keeps the extra vision on Nuts the entire time. S4 is going to blink away. Resolution could have just tagged off it, and yeah, he will do so now. I was saying that Alliance are moving back to their side of the river.
Dire's structures are fortified.
It's getting a little scrappy. It's good gangs up on the top. But now S4, like, Arcade's using him as bait. Hoping that Nightmare Save will be there. The Shackle, again, from Yoku, going to be off target. And they find one. They find Silent well out of position. Actually going for the S and Y build with the Sanji already over on him.
Yeah, they were trying to sandwich the mid, but what happens, and what Alliance did here beautifully, is that when you're about to get sandwiched, you push aggressively to one side or the other. And very clearly, they saw Silent coming in with that the defensive ward that they had. And once again, Ake was in position to be able to take advantage of him like that. So they very clearly just, okay, dogpile onto Silent, get the free kill on the carry, and completely halt the aggression of Empire. If they hadn't seen that coming, though, that could have been a really bad fight for them.
But they do. So Alliance looking good. Finally, a Shackle's going to latch over on Nuts. The shards flying in. And Slaughter, when he's got stick charges, goes for the crush. And Arcade, well, he was ready to help him out. That charge is coming in from Resolution. Will he actually complete it? It looks like he's going to. The crush is back off cooldown, so Nuts could actually stop him. But looks like Resolution will be able to connect. The Snowball's chasing down Arcade underneath that tier 2 tower, but S4, Resolution still going ham on him. Negative burn charges, and there goes your shards coming in. Sonic Wave from S4 just wants to ensure the kill. Blinks back, the bottle charts will keep him alive. Arcade won't be so lucky, however. Getting power shotted down and attacked in by Sven to give him the kill, but you're diving underneath the tier 2 tower. 14 minutes in before you've even taken out the tier 1 tower.
Is under attack.
They're still successful.
Yeah, if they'd gotten the Queen of Pain, that would have been great. But Empire, again, like small mistakes. Yoku, maybe he didn't have Focus Fire. It was off cooldown, perhaps, when he first started going on the Slardar. But that was very clearly, in my mind, a misplay that he didn't Focus Fire immediately on the Slardar and Power Shot to finish him off. When he leads with the Power Shot like that, he's just decreasing his damage against a high mobility hero like that. Silent, you can't really go onto this guy. Even with the Orchid, his Great Cleave damage is just too risky. Because you'll just feed away a bunch of Broodlings.
Yeah. But then again, who else do you go on? Like everyone else apart from Silent?
No, I think you just continue to farm up. Emerald Bulldog just takes over the jungle. And that's a source of farm that he's negating, essentially, for Empire. And when you're on Dire side like this, it also frees up an easy Roshan. And you can see with a Slardar, this is a great opportunity that the 4-position Slardar gives you, is it gives you Roche taking potential, which no other support really does like he does.
Yeah. And that's now got insurance into Loda. So Loda hasn't really been having the greatest game. He's still behind the net worth of Yoku. And that's the mid solo. Like, it's not even like this Ven as well as the Broodmother are neck and neck. And maybe that's another avenue we should look at. The fact that between the Tuskar as well as the Spirit Breaker, are you really getting what you want out of these guys? The mech is delayed over on the Tuskar. The Spirit Breaker is just charging across the map, but Resolution's working his way now into this. Well, I assume will probably just be a BKB. He's got a lot of strength behind him, so these charges are doing some work.
Yeah. If he can successfully stop the Crush or Sleep from stopping his charge, but there's also the fact that if he forces out the Fiend's Grip, but he's BKB'd at the same time, like, they can't actually kill him because he has high enough armor and high enough HP that they rely on magic damage to actually take down the Spirit Breaker. So even if he does force out the Fiend's Grip to stop the charge, he won't actually die from that, and they'll be in a good position because of it. Looks like they'll take this tier 1 tower. Alliance can't really threaten them in any way. Alliance are going to be very reactive to fights. Again, when a Spectre, you want to be the ones be the aggressors. It feels a little weird saying that, you know, the team with the harder carry needs to be the aggressors, but that's just how Spectre works. You can't afford to play defensively and react very well.
But Lotus still got a nice build for it. Like, if Alliance do have to fight, he's still got that urn to work with, so if he just realities himself in, like, he just bounces from target to target and let Bulldog and S4 do most of the heavy lifting in the fight. He just takes the kills and the urn charges. Maybe gets a kill with it himself.
But it does mean when Empire is set up on a tower, Alliance shouldn't challenge it, because while they can fight it out with Empire, it's an unnecessary risk.
Yeah. Because if Loda ends up dying, then like he's now 1,000 gold roughly away from completing up his rating.
Oh, nice pick off. Tusk is dead.
Wow, with a Fiend's Grip? Yeah, they can't TP in time.
They do have a charge on Admiral Bulldog, so if they trade the Tusk for the Broodmother, it's worth it.
He moved those Broodlings over, though. They can cause some real troubles, but they're not moving over. In fact, Admiral Bulldog is more worried about himself, and Arcade leaves him for dead. And Admiral Bulldog gets power shotted down by Yoku. I still don't know if this is a bad thing. Like, you've lost your Broodmother. Yeah, not a terrific case. But Loda's still farming. You're still getting your Spectre up to his timing. AKA good farm in the mid game. He will be able to fight them.
Yes, the 1-for-1 trade-off is worth it for Empire if you just look Tusk for Broodmother, but you are right in the fact that they created a lot of space for this Spectre, and this will probably mean the Relic is finished up before he's ganked. At this point in time, Empire, they don't necessarily have to worry that much about the Radiant's timing. They do hit a certain mid-game stride, though. And if they're really confident in how their mid-game is going to go, then they can afford to sit back and farm and wait till about, I would say, 25, maybe 28 minutes is when Empire is going to be their strongest. And then they just bully Alliance down and force 5-man fights uphill. Teams who are perhaps a little less confident will try and just actively shut down the Spectre before Radiance is picked up.
S4, smart time to blink himself away. Dodges the Stormbolt. Resolution was ready to follow up. He didn't actually have the Nether Strike available, so it would have just been the charge follow-up. S4 probably would have still survived. But Empire now forcing the issue. Trigger your Warcry, trigger your Weave, and watch your armor just go through the roof, combining up with the Buckler. The charge is coming over towards Loda, but he's got his 3.8k. He wouldn't actually mind realitying into this if he realized that Resolution's coming for him. So there goes your first charge up. The DP support's on the way too. Yoku, yep, there goes your reality. You have to come all together or not at all. So it's Silent as well as No Fear who are isolated. And in fact, Loda, he just decides to back it up anyway. He already got his Relic on the Courier. Keeps himself alive, just does have to burn, however, the Haunt.
And the rotations that they used also means that they can't get over to Admiral Bulldog, who Resolution did have charged up for a short period of time. But you can see the way that Empire are able to kind of bully Alliance for objectives. They just took that tier 2 without any kind of fight.
They have a crack at mid. Resolution? Nope.
And that same kind of storyline will continue even after the Radiance era. Yes, the Radiance will allow Alliance to be able to fight with a bit more confidence, but it's still going to be them avoiding fights and relying on split push in time, because Radiance by itself is not enough for a Spectre. You really need that second item after it that tanks you up a bit more and gives you that guaranteed time in a fight. As it is, when the Spectre picks up just Radiance, she's actually still quite squishy and is susceptible to being bursted down.
Do you need the full item though? Like, can you just go for something more like a Vid Booster and then get like Diffuser Blade up and running, so you get that extra damage you're searching for out from a Spectre? Or is that too risky for a Spectre?
I don't think the Diffusal Blade offers enough for you. I wouldn't mind the value of a basic Vid Booster or something if he wants to go for, like, I think Butterfly has a lot of value here. Most likely the Wind Ranger is going to build Crystallis into MKB.
Nuts is in trouble. He's going to be Nightmared up in the mid. He'll get the crush. Can't get himself out of the shards in time, however, even with stick charges.
That was actually very good for Resolution because he got stopped using his Nether Strike and they still got the kill. So he still has that ultimate ready to go, which could be critical in killing someone like Admiral Bulldog if they find him at this bottom lane.
Well, with the death of Slander, it looks like Team Empire want to try and push. Like, Roshan's not up for a potential 2 minutes, but that tier 2 tower in bottom lane, they're going to restrict the area of Admiral Bulldog. Loader is still not ready to fight yet. And Admiral Bulldog doesn't really have a great choice. Yeah, they have to let it go. This is now the second last outer tower of Alliance dropping. And they've only claimed one tower of Team Empire in this entire time, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because Alliance still actually have a huge advantage. Yeah, I don't know why either, Tim. For some reason, the overlay came back into being dropped for no apparent reason.
It might be a hotkey thing.
I'm not touching the keyboard.
Then I have no idea.
It's on a completely separate machine. Top lane, Fiendscript's going to go on Resolution. They need a little bit more damage earlier, and that's why S4 has to commit the Sonic Wave. The TP support was on the way, ends up being cancelled.
Tower is under attack.
At the same time, No Fear and Silent were under siege by a couple of Spirelings of Admiral Bulldog. He's having to reset all of his webs down inside the Radiant jungle. But the attention that S4 as well as Arcade are dragging to this top lane is enough to let Bulldog take over the Radiant jungle again. But Empire want to punish them. They're moving everybody up to this top lane. And they're going for it. The war cry forward. And where do you split? Like, you manage to find Arcade, but the Nightmare keeps Silent out of the fight. So Arcade going to be committed with a Stormbolt too. So you do find the one pick off, but you've lost your top tower. S4 hides in the tree line. Will blink deeper, but he's not TPing out yet.
Yeah, what he's going to do is wait for, because Empire showed so many heroes in this top lane, 3-4 heroes, good enough. They're most likely going to push out the top lane, and S4 is going to probably cut one of the waves and just try and stall that push as much as possible. Empire, though, are feeling a bit farm-oriented. They're not actually going to go for a push or anything like that. They're actually going to spread out and continue their farm, and I think this shows a lot of confidence that Empire feels good about being able to take this game 35-40 minutes against Alliance, that they don't need to rush things too much, nor should they, especially with BK on the line for Silent. I think that's also why they tried to give him the kill. Oh, they throw out the crush, but Silent, I think he could just TP away now.
He might have a little bit of help as well, because that SB, okay, he cancels the charge. So with the Shadow Strike coming in as well, Silent E is going to go down anyway.
Wow, I'm very surprised he didn't try and go, oh, never mind, there's a Yule Scepter, I forgot. Yule Scepter was picked up by S4, so they always had on a stun to be able to stop his TP, so that's why Silent didn't go for it.
Okay, I'm hoping for everyone on the live stream we won't have those issues again. With,
they're going to catch Admiral Bulldog here.
Yeah, gotta be careful not to push him up on the hill, however. Those batches connect properly. Admiral Bulldog just needs a way out, and the shackles will latch. He'll end up going down, but in comes Nuts. She blinking himself forward, gets the aggressive stun over on the Wind Ranger into the Fiendscript, and Resolution needs a bash. Finds it actually by charging himself in, but the Urn Charge is going to make sure that Yoku will end up ticking out. Loda finds a pick off and then into another one. It's over onto No Fear. Loda needs to move himself over, and there's the work. It's the Radiant Spurn just doing his stuff, and my Nuts, he keeps that ultimate over on Micha.
Oh, we got Nuts!
But he actually did. He sharded it back. Finds the kill. But Loda's still getting involved in fights now. He's 5-2 for 9. And you go 18-16. You want Alliance to have some aggression. That's it, man.
Yeah, a lot of this, they just desperately need to finish up the BKB. It actually all started with a pick off on Silent, and then them lacking the Sven in that team fight meant there was no way for them to be able to just go for the pick off and Bulldog and still win the fight that follows it. They have to finish up, he will get it, 120 gold, so they'll have the Ogre Club by the time the Tusk is back up, and they could probably go for, I think this is about the time you want to go for a smoke pick off. and see if you can catch maybe Admiral Bulldog before he split push down the bottom lane. If you catch Loda, that's even better, but I think it's realistic to say that they're going to try and look for Admiral Bulldog first, and then use that pick off to
how do you pick off Admiral Bulldog though? Like, the only thing you've really got, well, you got Walrus Punch and Bash, because he's got a full BKB done on that Broodmother. So the BKB, he's got that magic immunity. He can just run himself into the middle of Team Empire and not really care too much.
You can't. Or rather, I shouldn't say you can't. I don't think you should try and do Roshan without a pick off first.
They're doing it anyway. That armor is really high. They've already triggered their Greaves, however. Actually, no, there it is. It's still there. Now they jump in. That's a 5-man crush and the Sonic Wave. The Snowball trying to protect him, but still connects over on 3 and a huge Snowball out. But you got S4. Eurosep doesn't waste so much time. This fire's just splitting up into absolutely terrible moments as Silent gets the BKB up. He moves over towards S4. So much damage coming out from that Sven. There's still a 2-for-1 trade-off, and they want more than this, but what can they find? They're moving over to My Nuts. He can't get himself away. That Urn Charge kept his Blink Dagger on cooldown. The Shans will also fly too, and they're going back over to Roshan. The stun, they got the Observe Ward and Sentry Ward up there. They can clearly see Admiral Bulldog, and maybe with the extra help, Loda standing his ground. Bulldog, Insatiable Hunger still on cooldown for a moment, and that mischance. Resolution, he just needs to hit him, but the Empire is stopping him. Finally, he can charge himself away. The Bolt bought some space and actually locks Loda up on the hill. He can't get back down again to help out his teammate, so Slaughter can be tossed by the frickin' Tuskar with the Walrus Punch. But now Loda, his dagger's back off cooldown. He moves over. They'll get the stun for Tuskar. He's taking too much damage from that Radiance Burn, but Nuts, San keeps the work going. Loda needs more damage. We turn this into a man fight, but there's more men coming. Arcade able to get that extra damage, but yep, Spirit Breaker coming forward. That Stormbolt buys the space down to 24 life. Not enough damage. Arcade needs to put the Nightmare on him, but there goes Sven. Down for the count. The Shackle. There was one bloody tree there, and Yoku was able to latch onto it. So they'll lose the wicked streak of Spectre. Roshan is still alive, but they don't really have enough between the two of them. Focus Fire's coming back off cooldown though.
That was an absurd team fight. It's only through the strength of Sven right now, who is at a serious peak of power right now, that the Empire were able to still win that fight, because it was a disaster looking at a 5-man crush and then the spread out of the team fight after that, where the Spectre is able to get so much damage out of that Radiance. But fortunately, the Sven was strong enough that he was able to just kind of overcome that advantage that Alliance got themselves in the team fight, and they barely managed to win it and do take Roshan. They get the Aegis for Yoku.
And that's so big for Team Empire. Now they actually have even more. They have even more power coming into the next team fight. And 21-22. What are we looking overall? Okay, Admiral Bulldog's being charged once again.
He knows it though. They have the vision thanks to this good mid ward.
It wasn't close enough to see Empire going back in, but you can see where multiple sentries are placed around the pit. You probably can't keep a Dire Observer Ward there anyway, just because of the sentry coverage of Empire. And this game, so tight, little in it for gold. That experience swing in the last fight going the way of Team Empire, they brought this back to a 2,000 advantage for Alliance when they had almost 7.5k XP advantage.
One of the great advantages that Empire got out of that last team fight is the Aegis and the amount of golden experience that Wind Ranger got by being able to get this Spectre kill. This means that he actually has enough gold for a Crystallis now, which before the Wind Ranger was actually looking very lackluster in damage. It was the Sven show through and through. The problem is the Sven, he only has about a 5 to 8 minute window where he really dominates. He needs a backup carry.
Needs some help. Arcade's in the neighborhood, but what's he gonna do? The Nightmare over on Loader actually canceling the stun from the Snowball, and a huge crush from Minuts with the Sonic Wave and the Scream follow-up. Finally, Resolution gets his BKB up, but Loader haunted out. The Fiend's Grip is stopping Resolution from attacking further, but the big one is Silent coming in, just mopping up Alliance. 4 hits for Arcade, a Nightmare deny. He tries to switch it over, but Sven will take a triple kill. Now up against Bulldog. The miss chance is going to kick in just a moment. S4 can't blink away in time. The Stormbolt will catch it. Wind Ranger will find the attack. Alliance buying back over on Slaughter, so My Nuts came back to this engagement. But what are you going to get? The God Strength is worn off. You do have the Shadow Strike on Silent, but the Observer Ward saw My Nuts move up, so he has to back out.
Radiant's middle
But
tower.
what a
Again.
start for Alliance.
It's the exact same thing as what happened in the Roshan fight. If you look at the fight and the way that Alliance played it, they played it better than Empire, but it's still the strength of the Sven coming through. And also the fact that they had the BKB on the Spirit Breaker, that was a big one as well. The fact that he locked down Loda and then was able to survive through that Fiend script for a large period of time meant that Empire were pretty well set to win that fight. They're going to have an AC very soon on Sven, and I think that's pretty much the end game for a Sven. Like, obviously, you can always build more, but a Sven shouldn't want to go much later game than this. The Wind Ranger does have, I actually believe that the Wind Ranger has a bit more growth than the Sven does in some ways, and that you're just able to be such an amazing glass cannon in the late game. But again, you're going to hit a certain kind of peak when you have that. What is he building here?
The Sven?
No, the Wind Ranger. Why is he holding on to gold? Why did he not build a Crystallis?
Unless he's tossing up if he needs to get the BKB or going into the damage output. He might also be wondering if there's going to be any kind of like butterfly attack. Maybe he needs a Monkey King bar instead.
Yeah, Loda's already shown that he's not going butterfly, but you are right. He's going to go for a BKB as his next item. They feel like the damage from the Sven is good enough at this point.
Loda, Resolution, you're in a long way there. And Alliance, they're kind of ready to fight this one. They can't... Well, okay, nuts.
Whoa.
I thought he was going to blow the crush there for a moment. The weave starts over on Team Empire, so the damage is increasing. S4 blinks aggressively forward, but doesn't release the Sonic Wave. Empire also with the greatest positioning of wards. They just planted this little sucker down, so if Alliance do want to fight, they know everything.
I think S4 was trying to actually bait himself there with that aggressive blink forward. He had the Yule Scepter to fall back on. I think he wanted Empire to turn on him. He would Yule's himself, and then that would actually set up my nuts for a really good blink crush. But Empire don't fall for that bait.
No, they don't.
And
But they are still grouping up, and I'm wondering, okay, so this Sven's getting huge. Alliance were looking to fight favorably, and they back off when they can't do it. But the Broodmother was forcing out the bottom lane, continuously split pushing. Can Empire deal with the split push, considering the lack of maneuverability of their heroes across the map? Like, is this the BT moment?
Radiant's bottom tower
And then
is
again,
under attack.
if you BT on a hero, it's kind of got to be the Sven, because he's the only one that can really deal with Alliance's push. Either that or they just force the issue now. You do have the Assault Cuirass, so you could do it.
yeah, I think they should push with the BKB and the AC. That they didn't have that in the previous fight, so I think it's a good play. I was looking at Loda, and I think this could be a bit of the dispersion change, and also potentially the MKB builds that could have happened on the Wind Ranger, that he chooses to go for Heart rather than
Nuts
Butterfly.
jumping in, a two-man crush. Loda's got a little bit more strength in spot. He just completed the Heart, but that also means there's no buyback for the Spectre at the start of this engagement. So Empire, they do take out the tier 3 tower. S4 taking quite aggressively, blinks himself away from the Stormbolt. The Shards and the Charger coming in again. Resolution, the BKB, Loda being mini-stunned for the moment, but they're just beating into S4. He'll go down for the count. Buyback is available. Nuts with the double crush once again, but Silent. He was the man being feed scrubbed by Arcade. They can't keep that control going. But Sonic Wave finally comes in for S4, but Admiral Bulldog, the cleave for the shackle, and the shackle, it latches them together. Another crush from Nuts. Buy space for Bulldog, but he basically just killed himself. The Wind Ranger will end up taking his life there. And that is 3 heroes down. The Spectre is still alive. Loda, what can you do? You're isolated. Nuts will come in for another stun. He would love to kill off Silent, but that's not enough to work with. The snowball forward from the Tusker. No shackle to latch. Loda's being charged once again. He'll come back in again. Silas down for the count. Loda, what are you doing? Where is your buyback? He's just trying to keep him out. He's down for the count. There is no buyback available here for the Spectre. They're all down. And Alliance, they're going to lose their top racks at least.
Alliance, they may still try and hold out and just see how much damage Empire can do while they're down like this, but I believe that is actually game. Empire just completely wiped Alliance, no buybacks left in the pool. And as you said, I mean, it was just one last team fight. That's all they had to do. They pushed it early. They had the AC. They had the BKB. They knew that their greatest time to strike was right then. And Alliance are probably just sitting back talking about what went wrong with that game, because you saw moments of brilliance, especially from My Nuts. His Slardar play was off the charts.
Yep.
Like, he was able to get incredibly good, like Ravage. He literally ravaged Empire inside of the Roshan pit, and it didn't matter. In the following fight, he got like a 3-man crush as well, set up a beautiful Sonic Wave, and it still wasn't enough.
It brings up the question. Okay, we might answer this in a moment. Silent got Nightmare. Resolution's going to charge in. They got 15 seconds until you've got Loda back up again, but they're losing too many heroes. There goes My Nuns. RK will join him as well. The Sonic Wave does some interesting damage, but interesting is just a bad word for nothing. That's just going to be a blink forward away from S4, trying to get back to safety. Loda is back up again, but Empire, they've already forced the Mega Creeps. Loda just running himself out here, trying to prove that he can just tank through them all, but as you see, he cannot. The Snowball control. Lotus down once again. He survived for a grand total of 5 seconds, but Alliance will lose game 1 here of the best of 3 for the grand final of Empire vs Alliance for WCA. There's a lot in the Alliance too. The winner of this travels to WCA for the LAN finals in China, plus the lion's share of almost $14,000 USD.
Empire had the correct reads for the most part. They were able to tell when they should continue to farm and when they should back up. For example, that situation where S4 tried to bait himself in that top area by blinking forward aggressively. That was a great read by Empire. No, don't fall for that bait. Back up. That was very key for them, because if they chose to go into that engagement, I think they lose without the BKB of the Wind Ranger as well as the AC of the Sven, and then that entirely changes the game. But really good control by Empire. This is one of the things that you oftentimes say about Empire specifically, is that they have pretty good discipline when it comes to the way they use their aggression. Alliance, I think, they started off, I think, rather lucky in ways that they were able to push really aggressively and they didn't get punished in several scenarios. But as the game went on, Empire seemed to build up steam. They actually were playing more crisply as the game went on and were able to respond a bit better as the game got further and further in their favor.
Man, I still want to go back to something you said. The Slider with a 5-man Ravage, basically, inside the Roche Pit. Where was the follow-up? Was Spectre the right hero? Like, you're getting a Radiance Burn against a heavy strength lineup with Dazzle Burst Heal. Wasn't really enough.
I think that draft was definitely Empire's favor here. I think that they won the draft, but they also knew strategically when the best time to execute that draft was. And you could see in the mid-game, even with some of the missteps and even some of the great plays from Alliance, it didn't matter. The strategy held through.
Yeah, man, Loda can have nightmares just walking around the middle of the fight going, and got all the strength, I got a little bit of Radiant burst damage, but I can't help my team at all. So it's not even down to Loda, it's just like he couldn't do anything, even if he wanted to. So rough times for Alliance in game 1. Team Empire 1 game up. How they go in this grand final, we'll be back in just a bit to check.